more can I say?
Top Billin. Yo, Top Billin to ya. Top Billin, you already know what time it is, man. Listen, if you was in the club and that beat come on and if shit was like and something came over you when that beat was coming and you swaying and you like Top Billin isn't for you, right? Because Top Billin is where we talk about the hardest franchise in NFL history, and that is the Baltimore Ravens, man, right? So, listen, I've been talking about doing some Lamar Jackson content, and it's really stemming from my off-season coverage or my draft coverage, right? When I came back and did the film studies on, like, Tylan Wallace and Rashad Bateman, and even the stuff that I did on Sammy Watkins and his acquisition and how he could fit in the offense and everything like that. And 50 million people want to run up in the comment section, not talking about Wallace or Bateman or Watkins. They want to talk about it doesn't matter because Lamar Jackson is trash dookie. Lamar Jackson needs to switch positions, all this and that. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what the hell are these people watching, man? That's what you call groupthink. That is the, as my man Kwame Brown says, the go along, get along gang. People don't want to look out of the ordinary, so they will say what they hear the next man say, who heard what the next man said, who is not informed. So all these guys is like the blind leading the blind. Lamar Jackson, I'm gonna do a little bit of a film study here, right? This shit could get kind of long. I'm gonna have to do it like maybe a 3-part series here. You watch what you watch. I don't give a damn. But real men watch to the end and then comment anyway. So Lamar Jackson, I can't in good faith say that I would take Patrick Mahomes over Lamar Jackson. I'm not a big Patrick Mahomes guy. Obviously on the field, I think he's the very best. You cannot argue that. That guy is phenomenal. He obviously plays with a ton of weapons as well, and he has one of the greatest coaches of all time in his ear, and Andy Reid. But that's neither here nor there. The guy is incredible. So I wouldn't take Lamar Jackson over him in good faith. But if I'm personally starting a team, I would still take Lamar Jackson even over Patrick Mahomes just because of the style of offense that I would run, right? I'm all about that roughneck type shit. We can get it done through the air as well and be extremely balanced, but I want to be able to control the line of scrimmage. And I feel like you can definitely do that with a guy like Lamar Jackson and some of the shit that he brings. But I'm only talking about passing-wise, through the air. We know what Lamar Jackson can do and how dynamic he is on the ground. He's the best doing it there, and it's definitely explosive in that aspect there. But the rest of them motherfuckers, I'm sorry. I'm taking Lamar Jackson, and I love Josh Allen. That's my dude right there as well. Josh Allen, I said, probably could be the most talented guy in the NFL when you consider his size and some of the stuff he can do. But when you break it down, is he any more talented than Lamar Jackson? And I'm talking about throwing the ball. Come on, man. The proof is in the pudding. You guys can use groupthink all you want. I'm going to dispel that. I want to go through some stuff right here, and I want to compare Lamar Jackson to a guy that I think everybody loves who's a young guy. Now, listen, I'm only talking about the young guys. I'm not talking about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and these guys. I'm just talking about these young 25 and under type cats. I think Lamar Jackson after Patrick Mahomes, that's the guy that I would take over Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, all these guys that came in that draft right there are some of these younger guys as well. I really like Daniel Jones too. But I take Lamar Jackson before I take all them dudes, right? And I saw where somebody had commented and said that one of these analysts out here said that they would take Justin Fields and let Lamar Jackson walk or something like that. The fuck out of here. How, Sway? How does that even make sense? Justin Fields is not a better talent than Lamar Jackson. Like, come on, we got to stop that right there. But Kyler Murray is a guy that I know everyone likes, and I would not take Kyler Murray over Lamar Jackson. I think Kyler Murray is damn good. Imagine that, right? As a matter of fact, let's check this out right here. All right, before I get to the stats comparison with Lamar and Kyler Murray here, this was one of the comments that kind of stood out to me about a month ago. I forget on which content this was on here. It's this Theo Calise, the Shadow of Death commenter here. He's generally a pretty good commenter, but I don't know. He's got something against Lamar Jackson, and he says some of the shit that a lot of people that's in the go along, get along gang would say. They'll completely poo-poo this man having 36 touchdowns and 6 interceptions and completing 66% of his passes. in an entire season and being named the MVP, right? Like, oh, that anybody can just do that. That ain't nothing or whatever like that. But then he'll go on to focus on some shit and just like, look, he says, just look at the Chiefs game where Lamar went 15 out of 28 for 97 yards and 1 touchdown. He says, name me one legitimate passing QB that threw for less than 100 yards. Is this dude just started watching football? I can guarantee you, or I can't guarantee you, but I can bet quite a few have, right? Quite a few have, but let's do it when it's Lamar Jackson. Let's just say that there's something wrong with him if he does it, right? Let's just overlook the fact that he did have 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and completed 66% of his passes, was named the MVP. Let's focus on something like that when millions of other quarterbacks have done that as well. Now, listen, I want you guys to respond to what I say, not what you think. You're watching this content. This is not your channel. Respond to what I'm saying in the comment section, and then we can have good dialogue about that, right? And just because I think Lamar Jackson is very good, that doesn't mean that I think somebody else is trash. So keep that in mind as well. So people think it's all or nothing. I like Lamar Jackson and what he can do, and I will show that. But that doesn't mean that I love Tua Tagovailoa. I think is very talented. Even a guy like Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, right? We just don't have any data on these guys, but even guys like Baker Mayfield is really good. All these guys are very good. So you got to learn how to be able to segment that out. You can't just say Lamar Jackson needs to switch positions and shit and then start throwing around just a bunch of goofy shit. Then what is this? He said a passing quarterback. Now, Tom Brady, arguably the greatest of all time, right? Team Peyton Manning right here, but obviously the greatest of all time, or arguably the greatest of all time. And Lamar Jackson, I forget what he said, 97 yards or whatever that. Look at Tom Brady right here, right? He's had 86, 80, 78, 76, 76 yards in a game. Now, listen, I'm not dumb. I'm going to have to go by when he had a viable amount of attempts. Listen, he had 25 attempts here. What did you say Lamar had, like 27 attempts or something like that? He had 25 attempts, completed 12 of them, and had 78 yards. He had 19 attempts and had 76 yards before. It happens. It's called football. If you ever played before, everyone's going to have a bad game. You don't let someone's bad game override the good shit that they do, just like you don't let one good game override all the bad shit that they do. You got to have a balance. If it's analysis, you got to be balanced with it, right? You can't go into analysis with some hate in your heart and think that you're doing a good job with your analysis. That's dumb. That's extremely dumb. He even said even Ryan Tannehill was trash dookie, and even he didn't do like that. Oh, he didn't? Then what the fuck is this? Come on here. Listen, Ryan Tannehill, 86 yards, 82 yards. Let's see the attempts there to see if it's viable. 86. Listen, the 82, he had 27 attempts, completed 37% of his passes. Lamar Jackson's completion percentage was higher than that in his bad game or whatever like that. Listen, man, the man was 10 out of 27 for 82 yards. He was 9 out of 19 for 86 yards. It happens. It's called football. Stop doing that shit to Lamar Jackson, thinking he's inept for whatever reason that you have deep down in your soul. The fuck out of here with that, man. Lamar Jackson here versus Kyler Murray. I'm only going to compare the first 2 seasons of Lamar Jackson as a starter compared to Kyler Murray. I know in his first season he had 7 or 8 games that he played, but it would be kind of unfair to Lamar to not give him 2 complete seasons, and it gives you a nice little demarcation to have of their first 2 seasons as a starter. Now, keep in mind here, if we're talking about an apples-to-apples comparison, Kyler Murray's first year, he, to me, didn't have that good a talent around him outside of Larry Fitzgerald. He had did he have a rookie, Christian Kirk? Was Christian Kirk a rookie at the time? I forget. But him and Christian Kirk go way back and everything like that. Christian Kirk is a very good player. Didn't have the type of talent that he had in his second season where he had a legitimate number 1 receiver, perhaps the best receiver in all of the NFL in DeAndre Hopkins. There's no number 1 receiver that Lamar Jackson has played with, but he does have a top 4 tight end in Mark Andrews. But it's just something that a number 1 wide receiver can do compared to a tight end for the most part. And we know how good DeAndre Hopkins is and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. That's all you got to think about. But just the first 2 seasons as a starter here, Kyler played in 2 more games, and you have 13-18 record for Kyler Murray. I'm not going to ever put I don't like QB records, to be honest with you. That's not my thing right there. People swear by it or whatever, but it's a team sport. If you ever played, it's a team sport, and it's probably the most dependent on your teammate sport there is. You can have one dude kill it in baseball or have a dominant pitcher or something like that. In basketball, one guy can completely sway the entire scope of a team. That shit don't really happen like that with football, man. You got to have that line of scrimmage under control. You got to have a whole bunch of pieces around people, so imagine that here. But as great as Kyler Murray is and how much people think about him, remember, I'm only talking about through the air. 1,100 attempts for Kyler Murray, 65.8 completion percentage. We know the style of offense that he plays in, right? Much more of a spread-type college-style offense. My man Cliff Kingsbury has uprooted that offense. It does have a lot more pro elements into it, but it's a more QB-friendly system, in my opinion. Lamar Jackson here, 24-6 as a starter. 777 attempts. He completed 65.3% of his passes. We know Kyler Murray is known for throwing. People don't disrespect his throwing, but people always do that shit for Lamar Jackson. In the last 2 seasons, Lamar Jackson completing 65% of his passes. But he's inaccurate, Cletus. All right. 46 passing touchdowns for Kyler Murray compared to 24 interceptions. It's not even really a 2-to-1 ratio, is it? Lamar Jackson, 62 passing touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Right? Look at that. He's approaching nearly 20 more passing touchdowns than Kyler Murray. Has less interceptions, 9 less interceptions than Kyler Murray. Now, Kyler Murray has more attempts, but he has more attempts. Shouldn't he have more touchdowns? People will use that. He should have more attempts if he has more touchdowns. I know what they will use with the more interceptions because he has more attempts, but why doesn't he have more touchdowns? Well, Lamar Jackson can't throw, right? Or Lamar Jackson, it can only dink and dunk. Well, if he's inaccurate, why the fuck would they put a dink and dunk system in? Obviously, he's doing more than dinking and dunking, dude. Think about it logically. Come on, man. You guys can't have it both ways. So 7.6 yards per attempt for Lamar Jackson, 7.0 for Kyler Murray. Why does Lamar Jackson have more yards per attempt if he can only dink and dunk, which they really do that to guys who are a little bit more accurate in the quick game, right? If you're inaccurate, you don't want to be a dink and dunker. You'd rather have that shit go down the field and have people work for you. You have to do the work in the quick game. All right, so average yard per attempt, 8.30 and 6.85 for Kyler Murray. I don't know what to tell you there, right? If we want to talk about the rushing, we know Kyler Murray can absolutely go. The dude is fast. He has 1,300 yards over that time period, 15 touchdowns. Lamar has 2,200 yards. You got to add that in, right? If you're talking about his lack of passing yardage, he's getting it done. You want to get yards. The name of the game is to get yards. So however you get it, if they feel that they can get it that way, Baltimore has a scheme. Like I was telling that dude, they're going to get it done differently. He does not have Cliff Kingsbury as his coach. He has Greg Roman. Greg Roman is one of the best with run concepts. Cliff Kingsbury is a passing guru. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It's a different system. They're going to get it done. But could Lamar Jackson play in Cliff Kingsbury's offense? Hell yeah, he could. You better recognize for real. Like, come on, man. As a matter of fact, man, let's go over some of these throws. I'd be remiss if I didn't do a few throws here. I'm going to have to come back on a couple of other videos and do more, but I just wanted to show you guys this. And Justin Herbert, too. I know that's a guy that people will come out. We need more data on Justin Herbert. He obviously had a great year, but look at his talent. He has 2 number 1 receivers, and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Those are 2 legitimate number 1 receivers. He has 2 of them. Lamar Jackson had 0. He had a number 1 tight end, but 2 receivers that are legitimate number 1. And he had a guy, Hunter Henry, you could say is a top 10 tight end as well. That matters, man. But check this out. Damn, I just looked at the timestamp here. So most people probably aren't watching this far anyway. So make sure you support quality content. You know your boy is giving you that quality work, right? I'm giving that workout in quality fashion. Make sure you keep the lights on here so I can continue to do so. All my dudes off the Eastern Seaboard, make sure you support quality content, man. And we can keep getting it done like that, man. Because, listen, you know nobody messing with your boy here, man. Check this out. You got this man. One of these things that these dudes said is Lamar Jackson doesn't have arm strength. The fuck out of here. What type of goofy shit? I've never, I don't know. People just say anything, I guess, right here. But check this out, man. You know how long of a throw this is? Obviously, if anyone's into scouting, the first thing you're going to always look at is opposite hash throws. So if you have a guy like Miles Boykin here, he's going to be running this out route. Look, this is the type of throw that you judge it from, bro. Your man has to come from the opposite hash all the way to the sideline. So you have to be able to kind of push this vertically, even though this is a horizontal throw. It has to have a rhythm and timing element to it, and it has to have pacing to it, or these are the type of passes that go the other way for a pick six. Ask your boy how I know, right? So come on. He doesn't have arm strength? Then what is this? Look at this. Look at the ease of motion. Look at the product placement. Come on, we got to go back to that. Come on. The product placement on this. My man's coming off the drop right here. That's too easy. Too easy. Miles Boykin didn't have to do nothing. And he moved his sticks with it too. Look at it from this angle right here. Ease of motion. His throwing, people were talking about his throwing motion. To me, it's such a quick motion. It's not an elongated release by any stretch of the imagination. He can flick that thing out there, man. Pause. Look at that. Step to the target, right? Standing tall and talented in the pocket right here, collapsing on him. But look, ease of motion, not having to use a bunch of body English on this long-ass throw that if it hangs up in the air, is going the other way. That's a damn good throw, man. What are you dudes looking at? When this throw happened, man, I jumped up out my seat. This shit was hard. You have your man, Hollywood Brown right here. He was getting vert here until he saw that Lamar Jackson detached. You're in 12 personnel. So you got Nick Boyle here. He was running a drag. Got an over route by the great Mark Andrews here. So you can see the levels concept happening there. And then you had James Prochet here. He was on a whip route. So him being able to kind of go through the progressions or even being able to read that they were posted, right? They had a single high safety there, and it looked like they switched it and they were running kind of a quarter, half. I don't know, his man coverage there into the boundary, but they were running zone to the other side. So he knew exactly where to go with the ball. So you can see his FBI here. And then being able to, come on, this is the stuff that people laud your boy Patrick Mahomes for. You see him motion James Prochet in tight here. Now look at him. Feel it, detached, turn, going against the grain. Look at the product placement. Look at that precision. Now look at him. Even in this right here, been able to adjust the protection and be able to bring young Ray Rice here. Your boy J.K. Dobbins there to account for the protection that could be coming in the A-gap here. Just to know where the blocking scheme is. He's thinking the game through. So he's got the inside out right there, but look at him. Not there. Know where that over route's going to be there, and look at that. Oh, come on. We got to go back on that. Man's coming out, surveying. Can feel the pocket collapsing right there, right? Phillips getting his shit pushed in. Look at him back out, detach, have an evacuation plan. Now look at him turn, square his shoulders, and feather the clutch. Look at him feather the clutch, man. Feather the clutch, and look at where the ball arrives at. Look at the product placement. Right over there, my man, Mark Andrews didn't even have to break stride. That ain't a phenomenal throw. This guy can't throw. He needs to be a running back. Similar concept here. This time you're going to have a back-to-the-basket play action fake here and a rollout, but this time it's a King's Ransom with Ricard in the game. So this is essentially 13 personnel. If you want to consider it 22 personnel, however you want to classify Ricard. So it's a one-man wide receiver combination here with, once again, Hollywood Brown getting vert, and a very similar deal here with Boyle on the drag and then over route by Andrews. But look at him keep his eyes up the field here and be able to deliver this pass with anticipation. So an anticipatory throw, back to the basket, play action fake, rolls out, squaring his shoulders, throwing against the grain again, gets it to Hollywood Brown. That shit was nasty. Look at this. Back to the basket, play action fake, come out of it. Look at that. Man bearing down on him. So that's why it's really good to have those wheels to create that space here. Now, we're going to let it go full speed, and look at it. against the grain, right on the money. Look at the product placement. What are you guys watching? Come on. Man bearing down on him. He's getting outside of the pocket right here, throwing against the grain. Well, this time it's not really. It's throwing against the grain because of where the ball is going, but this time it's going to his dominant side where he would want to roll out. But look at the anticipatory throw. Not throwing it where Hollywood is, throwing him where you want him to be. And people talk about throwing him open and all that cliche shit like that. Like, come on. It's an anticipatory throw. Look at the results. I want you to pay attention to this in his football intelligence, his FBI. So if you look at their coverage here, the way Butler is facing, you know that this is probably some type of deep third coverage or a deep quarters coverage, meaning he would have this amount of the field. But him able to come out of a back-to-the-basket play action fake and survey and see that Hollywood Brown's route is taking Butler inside. He didn't necessarily drift straight up the field. This is a two-man route combination here. You got Brown and Andrews here, right? Almost like scissors. He was going to be running a corner route. So originally he thought they were going to run this to where Mario would be dropping to a deep third or a deep quarter of the field here, so he would hit the corner route. But as soon as he didn't see it, he adjusted the throw and threw Mark Andrews to where he wanted him to be, to where they could get a touchdown out of it instead of kind of a first down on the corner route. So Andrews had to adjust and go back, and you'll see the results from there. This kid is thinking the game through, man. Back to the basket, play action fake. Corner route would have took him more out of bounds. He adjusted back upfield, touchdown. What? You understand what I said right there? Watch Andrews. He's going to come out here. Once he clears, Butler, instead of drifting back, that's where it would have been right there. They were going to sink underneath Butler right here for Mark Andrews. He's going to come right here. He thought Butler would originally go back that way, but instead you can see Butler's going inside with Hollywood Brown, who's also going inside. But once he sees that, he makes Andrews adjust his route and go back upfield because there's a touchdown there waiting. And you can see right there, he makes Andrews adjust, touchdown. Look at it right here. Back to the basket, play action fake. He surveys, look, that's right in the pocket. That's in rhythm and everything. Him able to think the game through that quickly. Ease of motion there. Lead him to where you want him to be. Touchdown. Another thing people always talk about is they think he's locking in on his primary read. Look at him chaining through his progressions right here. Look, primary, secondary, tertiary. That quick. That's how he's supposed to do it. He ain't Ryan Fitzpatrick over there locked in, right? My bad. Listen, you see it? You see it. I'm not making this up. It's a film study. Primary, secondary, tertiary, let it go. Hit James Prochet, let him get it in. 11 personnel, 3-by-1, everybody in a reduction with the split here. Pretty much a clear out over by Mark Andrews here. You'll have Hollywood Brown getting vert through the seam, and then you have Willie Snead. I think he's sneaking out here. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing there. Then you have a drag here by Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant is going to be the fourth read in this progression because he's working backside here, and he still gets it to him. So it's letting you know that he's chaining through his progressions. Look, front-facing play action fake. Not there. Waiting for Andrews there. Nothing there. Boom. Hit Dez Bryant. Great block by J.K. Dobbins. And look, they make something out of nothing. Working from scratch. Front-facing play action fake. You know he's always going to look to Andrews first. He trusts him first. That's not there. You can see him buying time, going through his second and possibly the tertiary read. And he's like, it's not there. Evacuation plan on point. Hits Dez Bryant. Let him work. That's not good football. That's exactly what you want from your quarterback. When you go through your read, you give yourself the best chance of succeeding because you've exhausted all options. And he does that. Now, check this out. This is why I love the arrival of a Sammy Watkins and Tylan Wallace and a Rashad Bateman, because as good of a talent as Hollywood Brown is, it's too much of this from him. Look at that. Look at him. Going through his progressions, perfect. Hollywood drops it. How many times we see Hollywood drop some shit like that? Imagine a dude, you can help a dude out, right? He's working with Hollywood Brown, and is supposed to be your number one receiver, he's not a number one receiver. Willie Snead, come on, dude. These other guys are working with freaking – he had a Sammy Watkins and a Tyreek Hill and a Travis Kelce. It's probably the best two players at their position in Hill and Kelce. You know what I'm saying? Some of that shit is unfair. Josh Allen getting a Stephon Diggs. Like I said before, with Kyler Murray already having a Larry Fitzgerald. He may not be the same as he once was, but he's still Larry Fitzgerald who's able to help a young quarterback along. And then, of course, having DeAndre Hopkins, the best receiver in the game, perhaps. So, look at that. He's going through his progressions. Look, he's looking right there. Looking. Now he's like, all right, I don't see nothing there. He decides to, all right, the pressure was coming here. Dobbins did a good job of picking that up, but he's keeping his eyes upfield. Steps towards the target, delivers on the money, accurate throw right here, hits Hollywood Brown. Brown just drops it. That's on Lamar Jackson? You got to watch football. Don't skim it. Last one right here. I know this is going to be in vain because it's long and people are in this microwave society just can't watch content. They just want to comment, interact with other males. Like, come on, you guys got to get out there, man, and get you some chicks or something like that, bro. If you coming on the internet, man, watch content. We content creators ain't doing this shit just to do it. At least I'm not. I'm giving you quality content. These other cats out here bullshitting. You watch what I'm doing, baby. I'm trying to give you this quality work. Look at this throw. If this shit don't get you up out your seat, look at that. So, yeah, I got an empty going on right here, empty spread, plus splits, plaster numbers and everything, and they're running pure coverage here. I forget what the down and distance was. I think it was like third down and a whole lot, put it that way. And you can see Mark Andrews here on this over route. Pure coverage, and look at the accuracy, and look at the pacing on the throw, able to get it there. This was incredible. Pure coverage, throwing it there, just a flick of a wrist, and look at the accuracy. Look at it. He had to quickly. He had somebody who was coming free right there. Right, you got a free hitter right there, and look, almost just flicks it across his body. Can't even step into the throw. He doesn't have a strong arm, an accurate strong arm to be able to hit this and that type of coverage. Pure coverage. What are we doing here, man? We got to stop this. So I'm going to have to stop it right there. I want to do more film study, obviously. I can't totally go in vain here. You're going to have people rushing to the comment section after 15 seconds of it being posted. I'm first. Yeah, you first. You're a fucking virgin. Won't you get you some pussy first? And then you can stop the bullshit, man. Let's watch content. Let's have good discussion. Real football heads only. That's what I want right there. I want really good football discussions there so we can stop the groupthink. And I want somebody to tell me how in the hell Lamar Jackson needs to switch positions and how he isn't one of the best young talents in all of football and arguably the best after Patrick Mahomes. So I know you guys are going to talk about who you would take before him or whatever like that. This is my personal opinion. After Patrick Mahomes, I'm taking Lamar Jackson for my team. And you can see the Baltimore Ravens record and his success in the league being MVP and everything, right? Come on. The proof is in the pudding. You can try to degrade and diminish what this dude has done, but you're just doing so just because you heard someone else do it. Don't you be a man and stand on your own too. So I'll come back at another time here and do just a pure film study and do some more breakdowns and throws of stuff that I've seen. Is he perfect? Not by any stretch of the imagination, but none of these other dudes are either. So if we're talking about that, you got to be real about the situation. He has stuff that he can improve on or he can do even more consistently, but there's nothing out there that he can't do. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's your boy Murf, the Underground King. Thank you to everybody who watched for the duration. Real men watch to the end and then comment. Just look at this as a 30-minute show like you would watch if you watch one of the big networks or something like that, right? Pure quality content. And I get to do it the way I do it, so don't be coming here trying to tell me how to do my own shit. I'm going to do what I do, all right? Your boy Murf, the Underground King, top billing sports, and I am out. Peace.
What more can I say?
Top billing.